everybody is them. And they come in and kind of just do them. And that's why the Dogg Pound, that's why, you know, the whole death row experience was what it was, because everybody was just doing them. Nate was always the first one to support me. And Nate was like, you know, when Nate say something, everybody listen. He was like the OG.
Yeah.
You know, even Snoop, listen to Nate Dogg.
When did you realize you was gonna be doing hip hop?
When I got in the studio, about a week later, or a couple of days later, we went to the studio. They was working on Bow Wow album. Bow Wow was 7. I was 9, and Bow Wow was 7. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. So you can start young, you know?
So you was 9 and Bow Wow was 7.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow. Yeah, I remember Bow Wow. He was signed at Death Row.
Yeah, he's
So
working on 3 o'clock. After 3 o'clock, it's on and popping. That's on YouTube, but they never get released. But yeah, after 3 o'clock, it's on and popping.
So did y'all kick it in the studio?
Yeah, we was chilling. We was kids.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did they ever try to put you and Bow Wow together? Do you ever do a song together when y'all was that young?
No, no, but it was something that I wanted to do. This before, because you know, this before
Dog food.
this is before Bow Wow blew up. This before my shit blew up. We was just kids, but he already had a situation. He was already being developed.
Yeah.
So I was inspired by him, you know, a lot to, you know, start doing the music. I wasn't thinking, oh, just because my brother was doing it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
When I saw him doing it, I was like, oh, I could do it.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was more about why wait, you know, and that's when I started working on it.
Because I remember Bow Wow was popping. He was on the Arsenio Hall show, Gin and
Yeah,
Juice.
see, and so the Arsenio show, I didn't know Bow Wow yet at that point when he was on Arsenio.
Okay.
That's before I met him. He was younger. He was
Okay.
about 4 or something right there.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
7. So
Okay. But you was watching him on the Arsenio show, like.
I saw it, but I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know who he was till I met him.
So now, when was the first time you started? What age do you say you started rapping?
I started like around. I was interested from that moment, from 9, but I think I started around like 12.
12. Now, do you
You
remember
got to get everybody's attention. You got to get everybody to take you serious. You know.
Huh? You just taught yourself?
I didn't teach myself. I had a lot of people to help teach me. I learned a little bit of something from everybody. I learned something from Nate. I learned something from Daz. I learned something from Snoop. I learned something from Dre. I learned something from Kurupt. Uh, some things I learned on my own. I work with a lot of people. You know, Big Daddy Kane taught me a lot.
Big Daddy
You know,
Kane.
yeah, just conversations. You know,
How did that come about?
just rolling with Kurupt, being like on the set, and they was doing. He was in New York. He was doing a song with Chris Webber, and Kane was at the video. So we just hanging around on the set talking and shit. And then Kurupt come up like, "Oh, Kane, you met my little brother?" He's like, "Yeah, you know, cool, man, chilling." We all be sitting there talking for hours and just gaming me up, you know.
Now, how was it like watching? Like, you ever analyze how like Dre was working and making those like how he interacted and worked with the artists doing those records? Did you see a big difference between a regular other producers and how Dre does his thing?
People take Dr. Dre more serious than they take other producers. You know, It's a real serious environment, and they treat the song like they're building something. You know,
Did you notice that he takes like they say it takes forever to do a song with Dre? Did you notice that?
not with me. It wasn't like that for me. You know, he got his own way of doing things. He doesn't take his time. He just works on it a little more.
Yeah.
That's all.
Have you
More,
worked with Dr. Dre?
yeah.
And then he didn't have you do like your verses 1,000 times?
I had to repeat some stuff, but not not as bad as people say it is. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some things where it was like, wow, you know, that took a minute.
Yeah.
Not for me.
So now, how was it working with Nate Dogg?
Nate was Nate was great, man. He knew what he was doing. He knew who he was. He knew what he wanted to say. And he knew how he wanted to sound. He go in and you know, yeah, he was efficient at what he did. He was just Nate. I think that's kind of what I got the most out of that situation as a whole. Is everybody is them,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in and kind of just do them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the Dogg Pound. That's why the whole Death Row experience was what it was because everybody was just doing them.
Okay.
And they come together and it just made like a super group. Everybody, Badass, Superfly, Warren G, everybody involved, all the way down to like even the homies behind the scenes, Big Style, Lil Style, unique people,
Yeah.
authentic people create authentic experience.
Like, how does it feel like, I know when y'all was doing it, y'all know y'all was doing some big things, but it's like, now it's like legendary classic.
Well, it was already that. I feel like when I got there, I think I already knew what I was coming into.
Yeah.
Everybody could see that you can't repeat history, and what they done, you can't do again.
Yeah.
So, and we already looked at Snoop like for what he was, and the world finally caught on to it. Snoop was like Michael Jackson. It's like only less private as far as Snoop would come out and talk to the people. Michael would come out and talk to the people.
So what, I know you've been around Snoop for a long time. What is it something that people don't know or don't know about Snoop? Or the public doesn't understand?
But people don't understand that, you know, Snoop is a person, a real person. You know what I mean? And, you got to tolerate a lot of skepticism and a lot of feedback, whether it's positive or negative. You know, shit, I'm pretty sure it's his first time, you know, being Snoop. You know what I'm saying? Every day. So, he's just a person like everybody else. Got a lot of weight on his plate though.
Now, what age were you when like everyone was like, all right, let's go get on the record? They start recording with you. They start taking you seriously. What age do you think you was at?
Well, Nate was always the first one to support me. And Nate was like, when Nate say something, everybody listen. He was like the OG.
Yeah.
He was Snoop. Listen to Nate Dogg. So he was the first one to take me serious. When the label started taking me serious, that's when everybody else kind of got involved. Before that, I was just little bro. You know?
So how old were you when they took you serious and like Like they
15.
they're letting you be on songs and shit.
Well, my brother was putting me on songs before everybody, and then so I was on Corruption first. That was '98. I was 14, and then '99. Um, '99, I went up to Capitol, well, it was Priority back then. I went up to Priority to pick up a check for my brother. He was somewhere out of town or something. And I just rode with my mom and we went up there to pick up a check for him. And I had a little CD, this song that I made with Fingers, I Love Cali in the Summertime.
Mhm.
And something told me to just leave it up there. So I just left it on the desk in the lawyer's office. You know, I didn't have no writing on it or nothing. And then they called and they said they wanted to use it, put it on a record, on the album. Compilation called Nothing But a Gangster Party. And they said they wanted to remaster the whole project just to add
That song.
record. Yeah. So
And then that became
that was and they made it a single. They made it a single
single.
for the project.
Yeah.
And then just so happened the timing of that, Girls All Pause. So I had two singles out at the same time.
Yeah.
One with a video with me, Kurupt, and Nate. And I Love Cali in the Summertime was buzzing. And YouTube became a new thing. So when YouTube was cracking, somebody made a homemade video
Damn.
of, it was like a fan made video where they put together just all shit from California.
Okay.
And the video went viral. It was one of the first viral videos on YouTube. Yeah, you know, things just started rolling from there. Then I had the remix to Do You Want to Ride With Us with Jail Felony and Dash. And then I had cracked the Training Day soundtrack. Then after Training Day, cracked the O soundtrack for the movie with Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah.
And I had they gave me writer credit for the Beyonce Carmen movie
Yeah.
for that because it's a hip hopper, so the music is dialogue. So then that boosts me up with that credit. It's just all working and just getting placements. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then I got the Friday soundtrack with Get Ready with Me and Cocaine. Made that a single off of my album.
Yeah.
Uh, it came out around the time when they were starting to drop the soundtrack. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The timing and
All
everything.
these things was just
And then Kurupt album was doing so good. And Dr. Dre and Kurupt decided to release on the same day.
oh wow.
So that was a big push. You know, everything just worked together for me. The timing, you know, it was never like force fed to anybody. You
Uh-huh.
know, it was organic. It was just like they fucking with him, so they let me roll. You
Damn.
know?
Now, do you ever you ever get to work with Tupac?
Not with Tupac, but I got on a Machiavelli Dillinger album. We uh we revamped one of his songs with Tupac.
Now, you've been in studio sessions with Pac, haven't you?
No sessions with Pac. No, no, that wasn't my experience. You know what I'm saying?
Now, were you ever in sessions like with your brother, like songs that when he was in studio with Pac? Have you ever been in the studio with Pac? Not as just rapping, but just hanging?
Nope. You know, but it was all, you know, at that time, when I was coming around and Pac was there, I think I was like 9 or 10, like 10 or 11 or something like
Okay.
that. So my studio experiences back then wasn't as often as when I
Yeah.
started recording more. You know, I would be there sometimes.
Now, do you think because you was Kurupt's brother, that made you have to like work twice as hard, or was it kind of like it helped more or
A
less?
little bit of both, you know.
You had to like prove yourself.
I mean, you got a stage,
Yeah,
but you gotta, you know, I
exactly.
guess that's like something you gotta ask like Randy Jackson or something like that, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it like jumping up there with the five and they already the five, you know?
Yeah,
You just gotta be good enough to not fuck the show up.
Exactly.
If you
Exactly.
get in where you fit in, then you can learn from there. You know. So I mean, I'm pretty much just I'm a natural because I just do what I do.
Huh.
You know.